Welcome to Under the Rug at Work, where we shine light on things that are normally swept under the rug. Today, I'm chatting with Deidre Lekas about the silent cost of menopause at work. Deidre is a facilitator, coach, and the founder of No Pause Menopause. Deidre, thank you so much for joining us. I'm really excited to talk about this topic.
Pleasure.
Now, before we dive in, can you share a little bit about your background and experience and what led you to focus on menopause at work?
Yep, thanks, Nicole. I've been a passionate educator and facilitator for the last 35 years. For me, education provides the knowledge, knowledge provides understanding, and understanding provides empathy. That ability to see the world through somebody else's window. What led me to focus on menopause at work was my own menopausal experience. It exposed huge gaps in my own knowledge and understanding. It exposed the inadequate support provided by my workplace, and
Mm.
it exposed the lack of empathy towards the challenges menopausal women experience at work. Well, with a brain that is wired for curiosity and with a focus on continuous improvement, my journey started. I wanted to know if I'm the only one that feels uninformed and ill-equipped. Am I the only one that feels unsupported at work? And if there were more women like me, how can I be part of the fix?
Yeah, I love that. So, is that why you started No Pause Menopause?
Yeah, I guess in a nutshell, I started No Pause Menopause because when I began experiencing menopausal symptoms, I realized that whilst information existed,
Mm.
it was scattered, it was confusing, and quite often conflicting. And as I was navigating my own journey, trying to make sense of what was happening while balancing work and life, I
Mm.
discovered I wasn't alone, feeling uninformed and ill-equipped. The people around me, my friends, teammates, other women, my husband, didn't fully understand the menopausal experience either. And
Mm.
it soon became clear that there's a significant gap in education around this very normal phase of a woman's life.
Mm.
So I had to ask the question, what is the impact of the knowledge gap? And the answer to this question was quite significant because not understanding leaves many women feeling isolated, unprepared, and dismissed. So,
Yeah.
this knowledge gap contributes to preventable workplace conflicts, it
Hmm.
contributes to strained relationships, and
Yeah.
it definitely impacts on productivity. And women can't pause their lives or careers because of menopause.
Mhm.
Workplaces can't pause their operations,
Mm.
and most relationships won't survive a pause. So I found it no pause menopause.
Love it.
So, so Nicole, what I do, I help workplaces navigate menopause-related challenges
Hmm.
that impact the three C's:
Hmm.
cost, care, and compliance.
Hmm.
So by shining a light on these three areas, we fill the knowledge gap, we reduce the impact, and together we build a menopause-friendly workplace.
Oh, I love it. Are you able to dive into the three C's a little bit more and how they relate to menopause in the workplace?
Absolutely. So when it became clear that there was a significant gap in understanding the menopausal journey, I had to ask another question. So what? What is the impact on all the stakeholders in the workplace if we don't have the knowledge, if we don't understand the menopausal journey? So the first C is a cost impact. There's a silent cost to the business that actually shows up on the P&L. There's
Mm.
a cost to the menopausal woman, and there's a cost to her manager, and there's a cost to her teammates.
Mm.
So that's the first C. The second C is the care factor. Fortunately, most Australian workplaces are committed to the well-being of their employees and they want to, and they are doing the right thing by their people.
Yeah.
But in most cases, I find menopause support is the only missing piece of this well-being framework. And
Yeah.
a couple of low-cost adjustments and accommodations will actually see a positive impact on the care factor and
Mhm.
a positive impact on the profit and loss. So
Yeah.
then the third C is the compliance factor. So policymakers have started to take notice of the menopausal journey and its impact in workplaces.
Mm.
Senate inquiries are putting forward recommendations.
Yeah.
And even though it's not legislation yet, the proactive workplace can see the writing is on the wall.
Mm.
So, Nicole, with this in mind, the timing for us to address the impact of the menopausal journey at work is perfect.
Mm.
Women now make up over 51% of the paid workforce in Australia. And with this level of representation, we now start seeing an increase in menopause-related conversations in the media and social media.
Mm.
We see an increase in the thirst for knowledge and understanding. And we luckily see a shift from a once taboo subject to an open and honest conversations. So
Yeah.
those are the three C's.
Yes, fantastic. And I love that there's more conversation around it because it used to really be swept under the rug. But as you say, there's a lot of little bits and pieces here and there, but you're bringing it all together. And I love the no pause menopause. Man, that makes so much sense. But
Thank you for
how
that.
can, oh, sorry, how can workplaces address the significant costs to business?
Yep. So before we jump into that, actually, I just want to maybe drill down a bit on the one of the C's, which is the cost to the business,
Yeah.
and identify how the three main stakeholders are actually impacted at work. So the three main stakeholders are the menopausal woman,
Hmm.
her teammates, and her manager. So if we start with the impact on the menopausal woman, and we're going to call her Maggie. Imagine Maggie is driving a high performance car,
Hmm.
fast, reliable, and built for the long haul. But suddenly, warning lights start flashing on the dashboard, and the engine's overheating, the brakes are sluggish, and the fuel is low. Instead of pulling over and getting support, Maggie is expected to keep driving at full speed with no pit stops and no mechanic inside. So eventually, the car slows down, struggles to perform, and may even break down completely.
Mm.
That's what it's like for a menopausal woman in the workplace. The symptoms are the warning lights. And
Mm.
without support or understanding, her productivity suffers, her confidence erodes, and the whole system, including the business, pays the price.
Mm.
So for Maggie, the warning lights are hot flushes, the fatigue, the anxiety, which impacting on her day-to-day productivity and well-being.
Mm.
So with no support or awareness provided, her productivity decreases, and
Hmm.
then she also starts tapping into her sick leave. Now, this is costing the business.
Yeah.
That's the first stakeholder. The next one is Maggie's teammate.
Hmm.
That fatigue, those mood swings, brain fog, and that anxiety that Maggie might experience at work is all foreign for Maggie's teammates. They
Mm.
simply don't understand what is causing it. And most importantly, they don't have strategies to best deal with the situation. So consequently, they might feel resentful or frustrated.
Hmm.
And that the cost is strained relationship, increase in stress for them, and a negative impact on team dynamics, and consequently, decrease in productivity. So
Hmm.
again, this is costing the business. So now it escalates further because this dynamic is now impact on Maggie's manager.
Hmm.
So instead of focusing on the core managerial functions, her manager is now experiencing frustration. Frustrated with not understanding Maggie's emotional roller coaster,
Hmm.
frustrated with not knowing how to deal with it, and frustrated with the additional conflict in the team.
Yeah.
So it comes at a true cost for her manager, loss of valuable time,
Hmm.
emotional drain, distraction from core managerial responsibilities, which then, of course, reduce the productivity. And there's also a risk of escalation. So again, all of this is costing the business. And if
Yeah.
we now do the math and put actual figures around this, and I'm only going to look at the cost of reduced productivity, and
Mhm.
let's use a very conservative 5% drop in productivity caused by unmanaged and unsupported menopause in the workplace. So let's say Maggie's on $100,000 a year, her
Mhm.
manager is on 150,000, and her teammates are on average on $80,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
That 5% now equates to a loss of productivity for Maggie, for the business, a loss of $5,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
A manager, that loss of productivity, costing the business $7,500 a year.
Mm-hmm.
Her teammates' loss of productivity is costing the business a whopping $40,000 a year. And that, Nicole, is only in a team of 12 people. We
Mm-hmm.
are now looking at $52,500 that silently just simply dissipates into thin air for that financial year. And that is just the cost of reduced productivity,
Yeah.
not the cost to Maggie's well-being, her
Mm.
teammates' well-being, or her manager's well-being. So the cost goes further. Eventually, with no menopause-related support provided at work, Maggie decides to find a workplace that's menopause-friendly, and she
Mm.
finds.
Mm.
And this is the sad bit, at the exit interview, she actually does not provide the real reason for her resignation. She
Mm.
simply just moves on.
Yeah.
So on her last day, as she walks through the workplace doors for the last time, $150,000 exits with her. The replacement cost of
Mm.
knowledgeable, highly skilled, and experienced Maggie. That is $150,000 replacement cost for one high-performing Maggie.
Yeah.
So if we look at a team of 12, conservatively, with a 5% reduction in productivity in this team and only one rehire in this team, the business financial statements reflect a drop of $200,000 for the year. That's a
Mm.
cost for only one team.
Yeah, that's huge. And I've never heard it be broken down like that before. And I think you having the ability to do that does really highlight how significant it can cost business because we don't think about the pieces. We just keep working, we keep doing, we replace people, we just,
Yeah, yeah.
don't think about the depths of it. So thank you for sharing it in that light. But what can workplaces do to address it?
Well, two things. Firstly, education, education, and education. Educate your menopausal women, educate their teammates,
Mhm.
educate the managers. And then, secondly, a commitment from the workplace to become menopause friendly.
Mm.
So, that commitment is important if they genuinely cares about the well-being of its people.
Mm.
If they genuinely commits to diversity, equity, and inclusion, and genuinely cares about retaining valuable talent. So those are the two things, and the education and the commitment that we
Mm.
would like to see from workplaces.
That seems pretty simple, right? So it's great that you're able to break that down. But what are the first three steps that a workplace can do or can take towards building that menopause-friendly workplace?
And you see again, Nicole, it sounds much bigger than it really
It
is.
does.
But once we start break it into smaller pieces, smaller bites, it is
Yeah.
actually very simple
Yes.
to start the journey. So the first three steps that I recommend to a workplace to take towards building a menopause-friendly workplace is step number one, if as a workplace, decide if you should become menopause friendly. Have the right reasons for saying yes
Hmm.
and have the right reasons for saying no.
Hmm.
Step number two, reach out to No Pause Menopause for a complimentary checklist to help gauge the current menopause friendliness status of your workplace. That little checklist kind of speaks for itself. It tells you where you are at, and it will also tell you where there's opportunity to bring in a few more, as I mentioned earlier, accommodations and adjustments. All of those are low cost
Yeah.
in order to move forward to reach that status of being a menopause friendly workplace.
Yeah.
And then step number three, and I highly recommend this, engage with No Pause Menopause to help you decide what will be the first step to take towards building a menopause friendly workplace for your business. There's
Yeah.
not a one size fits all, and that's where that collaboration is really, really important. So we
Mhm.
look at all the factors and then make a decision for your business and for your workplace. What will be the best first step to take?
Yeah.
So, Nicole, if we pull all this together, can pretty much be summarized as follows. Menopause will always be present in the workplace.
Hmm.
Menopause has impact in the workplace.
Yeah.
The impact is costing the business, and
Mhm.
that cost can be reduced through education and commitment. So,
Yeah.
pretty much for now, decision makers have a choice. Make our workplace menopause friendly or not.
Mm-hmm.
Both choices will have a price tag to it.
Yeah.
But the numbers clearly show that inaction is far more costly than taking action to educate the workplace and to build that menopause friendly workplace.
Yes, definitely. And I know that it's a challenge for a lot of workplaces and they want to do the right thing. So if people want to reach out to you, what's the best way for them to connect with you and find out more?
The easiest is to visit our website, www.nopausemenopause.com.au, to find our contact details and to make contact that way.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing your insights, Deidre, and for looking at it from such a unique perspective. This has been a really interesting chat, so really appreciate it. Thank you.
My pleasure, Nicole.
And for listeners out there, if you found this conversation valuable, please subscribe and share it. We'll see you next time on Under the Rug at Work, where we continue to shine light on issues that are too often overlooked.